I've never pushed her. I've never slapped her. I've never laid a hand on her. In my 12 years with her, I have never done anything remotely physical to her. I have never, it's never happened.
Friends, this is Shadwick King. Now, in 2014, his wife, she was found dead. She was found on the railroad tracks next to his house. So once her body was discovered, police decided to question her husband, Shadwick. This might be one of the worst acting performances you're ever going to see. Let me know.
That's what I mean. 3 kids and all that work and you got to yell, you got to discipline, and it's from the time they wake up, which is probably 6:30, 7 o'clock, to the time they all go to bed, which is probably 8 o'clock maybe, if you're lucky. Yeah, lucky. And then you get a little bit of time to yourself, and by that time you're so damn tired that you're passing out asleep. That's a full day's work, so you're basically working, 16 hours a day, essentially, and then sleeping for 8, it's constant. That's a tough job. It's a tough job. You need a partner. You need somebody.
Maybe. I don't know if that's a tough job. People do it every day. A neighbor lady's got 6 kids, and she does it every day and works. Well, so it's not. I wouldn't.
Well, I guess you could always say, everything's relative. There's people that deal with a lot more terrible things than we'll have to deal with, but it still doesn't negate the fact that it's a difficult thing and something that I think that any normal human being would, it begin to wear on them after a while, especially over that long of a period where you are, you're on leave, you're in that home, and you're basically confined to that home, essentially taking care of those kids and doing everything that you need to do to make sure that house stays afloat, for all that time she's gone. And then she comes home and she's got a flavor of the month, guy that she met that, she had all this time to probably hang out with and spend time with and this and that.
I'm sure that's how it happened. And here you're just with somebody constantly.
Exactly. And here you are going, well, I got these 3 kids. We're married. I'm sitting here every day dealing with these kids, trying to raise them so they're productive members of society. I'm trying to put food on the table. I'm making breakfast. I'm making lunch. I'm making dinner. I'm reading stories at night. I'm helping out with homework. I'm doing all this stuff. I took time off my job, put my career on hold so that you could enjoy, what I thought was a good move for you. And then you come home and you slap me in the face with a disrespectful, text messages and relationship with another man. And you want me to think that's just like water off a duck's ass? No way.
I wouldn't change it again, no matter if I knew what the outcome was going to be. Because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Doesn't, if it could have been 5 years, who knows? I don't know. But like I said, I wouldn't change anything. I still wanted her to go to officer school. Mm-hmm. I was going to stay home with the kids then.
What do you do now?
Well, I do claims. I work for Ackerman's. We do mostly insurance claims. We're mostly household items, like that come through customs that get tore up and everything.
Oh, okay.
Some like the moving companies, there's 2 kinds of insurance. There's actually a lot of different insurance. Like there's the one for your household. There's the one if they come in and tear up your wall, that's a different insurance. And then if it's in storage, that's a different insurance. So
you gotta go back to work.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of information we're trying to get together, and talk to family and friends and figure out exactly what's going on and taking kind of the last account of events that you had with her, because you were the last one, to be with her and to talk to her. You kind of have the best time frame so far for us for tracing our steps back, which is kind of what we're doing here. So we do have some more questions that we need to go into, but right now we kind of got to check our facts and see where they line up. And 2, we don't want to, drain you, because I know this is emotionally exhausting, us talking to you too. So I know you took a water down. Would you like another, or maybe something to eat?
You want to take a break and talk to Dad?
You can give
We
a
can
call.
we can step out and talk to Dad. And
No, I'd like to just get it over with. I want to know what, nobody's even told me what happened or anything. They won't.
And we can go a little more into that. But first, we kind of want to look at all our notes here. I honestly just got called in to kind of help talk to the family about this. Detective Peck here has a lot of the details. He spoke with officers on scene and everything. So that in combination with what you've told us now is kind of where we're going to compare our notes, and then we'll probably take just a short break then and then come back and talk to you a little bit more so we can kind of get this all out of the way. That sound all right? All right.
you want another water?
No, I'm good.
I know I'm going to get one because I've been clearing my throat here. So,
You want a coffee or anything?
well, we're going to step out then. If you need anything, let us know. This room's monitored, so if someone's on the other end of it, you can always get us to get you something if you need something, okay? We just want to clarify a few things with you based on the notes that we took just from our conversation earlier, and then the conversations we've had with others. Obviously we're talking to everybody in the family to kind of piece this whole thing together. And, kind of the elephant in the room is that you guys were having a disagreement with one another. It was unfortunately the last times that you guys had together wasn't the most loving one. So again, some uneasy topics that we have to talk about and things like that. And I apologize because I know this is really hard for the circumstances that you're in, and this is not something that you want to do. And this may seem accusatory at times, but really we're just trying to find out, exactly what happened. And I know you want to know that too.
I want to know what happened. That's what my dad just told me. He goes, "You just gotta find out what happened."
Yeah, and it's usually, like when people are cooperative and whatnot, that tells us that they want to help because they've got nothing to hide type thing, and the other family members are all, we're all talking to everybody. So you're not the only one. So I don't want you to feel like you're being singled out or anything like that.
I'm worried about my kids.
And that's a rightful worry. I mean, we talked a lot.
I don't know what they know yet, so.
And we can help. We've got services too, victim services that we contract out to our department that is a resource that you can use in breaking the news in those hard circumstances and things like that. And that was another thing that kind of came up is it seems like a lot of the arguments that you guys had was after she got back from basic. Did you guys have any disagreements before she went to basic?
No more than a normal married couple.
Okay, so you weren't like at each other's throat before she went to basic and then left or anything like that. You guys got
We've never been at each other's throat, no matter what.
Okay.
And you guys were at the damn bar that night around, I don't know, you get there around like midnight or so, maybe shortly before.
I think shortly before, but I'm not sure.
What was kind of like the topic of the conversation? I mean, kind of walk me through specifically. Were there certain things that were happening in the bar? People acting goofy?
Not really. When we got there, there probably wasn't 4 people in the bar. And then maybe a half hour to an hour later, I guess they have wedding parties come in there. And then it filled up. I mean, it wasn't packed, but it filled up.
Okay, so you were hanging out with the group. I mean, you guys were
No, we were by ourselves.
Okay.
Just kind of, there was the Air Force guy here, then the corner of the bar, then me and Kate. And then, like I said, at some point, the neighbor came in.
So the Air Force guy that she was kind of messing with in terms of I could take you type thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Was there any kind of goofing around between them at all, or any kind of like,
No, not at all.
Check this out, I learned this, any kind of, posture in between?
No, nothing remotely physical.
No, okay.
He stayed as far away as we are, and they just joked around. He kind of told her stories when he was in the Air Force, and about her basic training and stuff. And she kind of said, well, they just talked about the military. Mm-hmm. He was in the Air Force, and now he's a air traffic controller. Mm-hmm. I don't know his name, but I know that's what he does now.
So is anybody goofing around with any kind of like, look at this move, she didn't show anybody anything like that?
No.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
All right.
So she goes out running. You said she left at what, about 6:30 or so?
Yeah, around 6:30.
So then you slept for about an hour from about 6 to 7.
No, probably from 5 to 6 or so, something.
5 to 6. So you're up when she left.
Yeah, I was up.
And she didn't sleep at all with you? She wasn't.
She laid down in bed with me. Yeah.
You don't think she slept, or you not know?
I don't know. I know. I definitely dozed off for a little bit.
Okay. And then you wake up when she left to go running?
Well, we both woke up, and she was up. She was up for a little bit, and then like 20 minutes, half hour later, she went running.
All right, so then she went running. So then you're milling about the house. You let the dog out at some point, you said as well.
Yeah.
And then you decided at about 8:30.
No, about 7:30. I got gas, and then went to Jewel, something like.
So then got back.
Definitely. Yeah, and then got back.
8:30.
Right, and then. And when I don't know what time I left to go pick up the kids. I think I said 9:30, but I do remember when I got in my car, I said hi to the neighbors as they were going to church, and I don't know what time. It might have been 9, but
What neighbors were that?
they're on the other side of our house. And it looked like they were going to church.
The other side of your house being, so like I'm looking at the front of your house, are they to the left of you?
If you're in front of my house, looking north, which is the front of my house,
Okay.
they're on the left side.
Okay.
So they're on the west side.
Okay.
And that's when I left, when she came out, and it looked like they were going to church because they were dressed up. And that was 9:30.
Okay.
So then from there you headed to pick up the kids in Elk Grove. Without any communication to them.
No, I didn't have his number. I still don't.
Didn't try to communicate him any other way.
I tried to when I got there, and he wasn't home. I thought, well, I know they wanted to go to his grandma's, so I drove there. When I got to his grandma's, or Kate's grandma's, I texted her sister because I don't have her number either, but I texted her and asked her what her dad's number was, because I was going to call him and say, well, where are you? Do I stay here and pick him up, or I come back by you? But I never got anything back. So
Okay. So we check all like the phone records and triangulation and everything. It'll come back to kind of that situation.
I got it right here.
Okay. So once then you get to.
And I called Kate at some point and texted her too.
Okay. Thinking that maybe she's back from her run.
At 9:30.
Do you know what her security code is on her phone?
I do not.
No. Do you have any idea what it might be?
I would try her kids' birthdays and stuff. I think.
What are those?
I couldn't tell you.
How did you?
You don't know the kids' birthdays?
And,
All right.
How are you able to read her text messages on her phone?
when she's texting,
Uh-huh.
and then as you can see, you leave it open.
So she left it open?
Yeah, you got to push your little button, then it's locked.
Okay.
So when she had it open and she's doing that,
She set it down on the sink.
so she's going to the bathroom and then sets it down on the sink,
Right.
and then you grab the phone to take a look at
I
it?
look at it.
Okay, so you grab
And
the
I
phone,
see
you
the
take a look
text.
at it, and then what does she do? I would imagine, like any normal
She-
human being, somebody
Well,
takes her phone and starts looking through
I
it.
think the first thing she didn't really say anything. She didn't really say anything. I just looked at the text and then I went in the living room, or actually I went out on the front porch
With her phone?
with her phone.
And she's just letting you
She
do this.
doesn't do anything. I think at that point it was just, well, what it is. And I wasn't. And then I was out there for maybe, I don't know how, not too long, and I brought the phone back in. And
Do you have the text message that you sent? Actually, that was on her phone, right? Do you have any text messages from your phone to this other guy? Do you have his number? I would imagine that it would be on her phone. Did you jot down his number? No? So you could call him, or?
no, like I said, I texted him, leave my wife alone, and some other things I'm sure too,
Well, other things being what?
Because when we talked to him,
I'm going to bed with my wife right now. Stuff like that.
Because when we talked to him, I don't want to have another police report that he was getting death threats from.
No,
like
absolutely not. Absolutely not. I texted him nothing other than.
But I'll tell you what though, if you did threaten him, I can totally understand that.
I did not.
I'm just saying,
Okay.
if somebody was,
You get his. I'm sure he has the text I sent him, and I promise you, there's nothing other than I'm going to be sleeping with my wife.
so it's more like just kind of poking the bear, if you will, trying to.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm here, you're not. Too bad, so sad.
Because tell you the truth, if I saw that, I would have thrown that fucking phone and lost my mind.
Absolutely.
$500 phone.
I wouldn't have cared at that point.
It may cross your mind, but $500 phone.
Well, and I mean, the fact that she's allowing you to take her phone too, I mean, that's a very private thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most people, women in particular, are very private with their stuff. Cell phones kind of like, it's almost like jewelry and other stuff that women are very protective about, and they don't want to necessarily let somebody just walk off with that. It just seems very, I guess, improbable to me that she would at least say, hey, what are you doing on my phone? Who are you going to go text? I don't want you sending that kind of stuff out.
Well, didn't say a word. I think it was just, here's what it is. Well, it says here I called her at 9:30 that I wanted her dad's number to go pick up the boys.
Read it. What do you think happened to Kate?
I think she was jogging, possibly a car. But where she jogs, I don't see how that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that I'm here tells me that it's probably something maybe worse than that. And I don't want to think about that. So I don't have a clue. I want to know, but
if you want to know, you're going to have to hear kind of some hard details. Now, if that's something you're prepared to hear or not, this is the worst part of our job is to sit here to talk to you about this. But again, we got to rule out all the possibilities, and quite honestly, the circumstances that she was found, it doesn't seem plausible that she got struck by a car. So the fact that she was found deceased.
That's true.
Let me ask you this, Mr. King. Do you think good people can do outrageous things sometimes?
No, I think evil is evil.
But do you think you can be a good person and make a mistake?
Absolutely. Because depends on what the mistake is.
Because Kate is basically a living example of that, right?
What, is she a good person? What mistake did she make?
Well, in terms of the other guy.
You know what? I tell you what, a relationship with some other guy right now seems pretty fucking trivial to me.
Was there any type of incident that happened at the house at all between you guys?
None.
Any kind of
You
accident?
can go in my house and look. There's nothing.
Accident, anything like that?
No, nothing.
Or she might have fallen, or you guys are after the bar, had a little bit too much to drink, and one of those things where somebody falls and gets injured, and it's kind of one of those oh shit moments. What do I do?
Nope. 100% no.
So nothing like that at all.
No, not at all.
Because, it's understood that you guys had some very significant differences, all the way up and just before she died. And, the reasonable person would say, hey, maybe it's something between those two. Maybe something happened and it just got out of control. And,
but it didn't.
Nobody ever meant for anything to happen. And no one ever does. It's one of those things where
absolutely, positively, did not happen. I would never lay a hand on her and have never laid a hand on her.
No.
Not one time.
We're not, Mr. King. We're not saying that you've laid a hand on her or anything like that. Because
but
the bottom line is, if you had, you think we would have heard about that, right? I would have heard about that from somebody. Somebody would have said, you know what, he's got a heavy hand. He's got a quick temper. That guy's just a total and complete jerk, you know. He beats all of his women. I'm not hearing that. Okay? I don't think that you're the type of guy to beat his wife. I don't. Okay? But I do understand that there are times when people get into arguments, disagreements, and tensions get really, really high. Okay? And sometimes when that happens, things occur that you don't even intend to have happen. And accidents happen all the time. You hear it all the time. The father that leaves his kid in the car and he totally forgets that his kid's in the car and he goes to work and he comes out and his baby's dead. Is he a bad father because he forgot? Because he made a mistake? Because he forgot to take his kid out of the car because he normally doesn't take that child to daycare and totally forgot that he was in the car? I mean, no, it's not a bad person. That's a good person that made a mistake. You know, one of those things that just happens.
That's an awful bad mistake to come back from.
It's an awful bad mistake to come back from, but it's a mistake. It's not one of those things
I don't know if I'd call that a mistake, is breaking somebody's car windshield with a golf ball.
Well,
putting your baby in a hot car. I don't know, but maybe absent-minded, possibly. I don't know, but I know that if I did that, it would run my life forever. I'd never recover from something like that.
So you said there's nothing that occurred at the house. There's nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Okay.
And I know you care deeply, for your wife, and your emotions have shown that here, that you're upset, obviously. But I mean,
I know what it looks like.
Well, I was going to say,
that's what my dad said. I told him, I have nothing to hide.
Well, and we don't want you to feel responsible for her death if you're not responsible. But if you are responsible, now's here in the time to tell us.
I am 100% not responsible, and I would never remotely hurt that woman. Never. I've never pushed her. I've never slapped her. I've never laid a hand on her. In my 12 years with her, I have never done anything remotely physical to her. I have never, it's never happened. Not one time, never, 100% no. Has she? Not really. She's slapped my shoulder or something. She's not physical. There's no physical. There's nothing. I wouldn't hurt that woman. I would not, and I know what it looks like. She's seeing some other guy. Fine. Go be with another guy. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not going to fly off the handle, push, hit, ball bat, and I'm not trying to incriminate myself. I would never lay a hand on her. I would never, ever, and have never in my life put a finger on that woman. I wouldn't, and I know she's kind of seeing some other guy. Still, it does not give me a right to ever do something like that. I wouldn't do it. The only way I'd ever lay a finger on anybody is if it was protect my family. I'd never, ever lay a hand on anyone. I wouldn't.
Do you feel like your family was in jeopardy with the introduction?
Yeah, with my kids. Kate would have never kept those kids from me. She knows I love them. I know she loves them. I would have never kept the kids from her. There was no squabble about the kids, other than I wanted them for the summer if she moved out of state. I didn't even have a problem if she moved out of state. If she got a better job, wanted to move out of state, that's her right. I don't have I have a right to say, I want to go with you. I want to be with you. But if she says, you know what, I've changed, I deal with it. And I deal with it myself. I don't, that's all like I said, the kids were the most important thing in the world to me. I wouldn't take them. Their mom loved them boys. And them boys are never going to be the same without her. And I would never, and have never,
You know, I don't think you would ever intend to hurt her.
I never, ever, and I never even remotely, I never wouldn't,
But-
I wouldn't, and I couldn't. And that's just 100% how it is. I wouldn't, and I couldn't.
Well,
I wouldn't do that to her. I wouldn't do that to my kids. 100%. Never.
you know, because like,
And she's with this other guy or whatever their relationship is. You know more than I do at this point. She's a great mother. Oh, why would I wouldn't. No, never. And you can ask anybody, even when I knew this was going on, I didn't say, I had not a bad word to say about her to anybody. And I think they might have known, possibly. I never badmouthed her. I never said a negative word about her. Never have to anybody. You will not find one person that ever said, that I said, well, I think she's cheating on me. She's this or that. Never happened. And one person, if they say I did, they're a liar, because I have never said a bad word about her to anyone. All I've ever done is brag about her. Even if she's with somebody else, I still bragged about her. I still, you don't know.
we understand this is definitely a big loss, you know. But again, the question remains, you know, how did she pass? And that's a big question for us that we need to answer, because, like I said, the
I want to answer
circumstances
too.
around it appear that she wasn't struck by a car. The accidental nature that we normally see in deaths like this isn't all that apparent. It appears, whether it be an accident caused by somebody else or whatever, seems to be
More of a ployable
what's being
situation.
shown.
Okay. You know, I've seen it where you got people who are at a party, you got a heroin addict, let's just say, for example. No, I know she doesn't do drugs, but you know what? They overdose and they're with some friends that are doing heroin, and everybody gets scared because they go, oh my God, that person's deceased. You can't call the cops because what? The cops get there and all of a sudden there's heroin, people, you know, get arrested. So what do? They take that person who's deceased, they don't want to go to the hospital, they don't want to go anywhere else, and they take that person and they dump them somewhere else. And they do that in order to basically kind of get it out of their backyard and basically know that that person will be found, but they kind of absolve themselves of responsibility. You know, hey, they were already dead, it's not my fault. And it's understandable, just on some terms.
I don't think that's
Okay.
understandable.
Well, but I mean,
What if the person wasn't dead?
But if somebody falls or somebody trips or somebody is injured, and you know what, they're obviously deceased.
You got to be an evil person. If somebody trips and hits their head and knocks themselves out, and you think they're dead and you dispose of the body, that's pretty damn gross. If you got nothing to hide, call the paramedics or 911 and have them there. Because no, that's not. There's no situation where throwing a heroin addict in the ditch is good. That's no.
Did your wife ever make any comments of self-harm that she wanted to hurt herself?
Absolutely
Was she
not.
ever hospitalized or anything for something like that?
No, never. I said she's the smartest, strongest woman I know, and I smart, strong, beautiful, funny.
You know, and again, where we want to get answers for you, and you know, forgive the accusatory.
I know, and
questions.
I don't mean to be short.
Well, and we want to not only find out for you, but for the kids, because their first question is going to be, you know, why?
Okay.
And they might be too young to understand right now, and you know, you might have to elaborate a little bit on the niceties of things rather than the gruesome. But we're dealing now, unfortunately, in the here and now, the gruesome, and we got to kind of give answers, you know, to you, but also
pretty well dealing with the gruesome too.
Why didn't you call when she didn't return home after that long? Why didn't you call?
Gone for a couple hours. I don't know.
Is that normal though? It's normal behavior for her to be gone for a couple hours after a job?
I don't keep tabs on her. I don't follow her around. I don't. I did grab her phone and look at messages, but I don't. She doesn't have to account, and has never accounted to me for what.
But you said when she goes out on runs at night, you get worried about
I do,
her.
absolutely.
So obviously you're concerned with her safety at night.
Absolutely.
So if she's gone for 2 hours during the day, which is kind of not very normal for anybody to do, why didn't you give us a call?
My wife went jogging and she's been gone for 2 hours.
People call us when their dog is missing. People call us when stranger things have happened.
Like I said, to me, I went on bike rides for 2 hours. If she runs down to the river and walks the river path for 2 hours, well, I mean, I guess I never thought of, she's gone for 2 hours, I should call the.
But then you were going to go pick up the kids,
yeah.
Okay?
Because I wanted to be with my kids.
Okay. So obviously, I mean, don't you think she wants to be with the kids too, and she wants to go pick them up? It's her father's house that the kids are at, right?
I don't know.
It's her grandmother that's the one that's in ill health and things like that.
Right.
So she would have wanted to come with to go pick up those kids and to see grandma and to do all that
stuff. She could do all that when I got back. I wanted to spend the day with my kids.
But is that?
And I don't know what her plans for the day was. She was maybe going to run into her grandma's.
You guys have the one working car?
Yes.
Okay. So does it seem plausible that you go up there and get the kids and leave her? I mean, wouldn't she be included? I mean, why would you take 2 trips? Why would you go up there and... I guess that's what I'm trying to understand. Maybe you can help me understand that.
Just wanted to be with my kids, like I say. That's all I got. I wanted to pick up my kids. It's Sunday. We always go do something. And that's what I wanted to do. And so I went to get them. I figured they'd be at their dad's. They weren't. And that's why I tried to get there early. And then it didn't happen. Sunday, I wanted to be with them. She, like I say, went running, and I don't know what her plans were for the rest of the day. I don't know if, like I say, through the text messages, I don't know if this guy was, it sounded like he was going to be coming in town sometime, like for something to see her and this and that.
Like recently, like coming up?
Like for her birthday or something, and that's months away, like October or something. And also I don't know.
So text messages were basically about him coming up for her birthday?
Or it said something about the birthday or the wedding or something.
So they were making plans to get together?
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounded like it to me.
Okay.
But that's, like I said, once it reaches that point, what do? You live with it, and you go about your life, figure out what you're going to do, and figure out how you guys are going to divide up the kids. But like I said, she said she didn't want a divorce.
Because initially you said that she did want a divorce.
No.
So you misspoke earlier?
I must have. Because she said she did not want a divorce, and she would not give me one or sign the papers.
Did you want a divorce?
I wanted to look into it. Definitely. I mean, I'm a man. I'm proud.
Sure.
So, yeah, I wanted to look into it. We had talked about it. She said, no way. I'm not signing the papers. So.
She was throwing her relationship pretty much in your face.
Maybe.
I think she was. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're brushing your teeth and she leaves a text message with her new boyfriend sitting there.
Maybe you're right. Maybe she wanted to get. I think that's why she didn't even. She just was like, whatever.
And if my wife was throwing something in my face that flippantly, like she didn't care, my emotions would be through the roof.
And that's completely normal.
I think it'd be justified in any circumstance. I mean, you're
justified what?
Well, I guess
was I upset? Was I hurt? Yeah.
But I guess that's just it. Is that, you know what? I think you're trying to kind of shield how upset you were. It's okay. It's okay to be upset because
Sure
you know
it is.
what? Absolutely.
But I wasn't that upset.
Hey, honey.
It's been going on for 4 weeks.
That's a new. She's only been home for 3-4 weeks. You know what I mean? I mean, you find all this information out after you've been towing the line for all that time, so she can get her career and all her shit straight. And she's gonna get her career. She's gonna go to
the better her career, the better it is for my kids.
She's going like this. She's going like this, and she's got this other relationship. And it's like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna have my cake and eat it too. You're gonna basically be the slave for me. You're gonna watch the kids. You're gonna do all this and that. You're gonna do all the hard work. I'm gonna go have fun. I'm gonna go ahead and make my career go through the roof. And then I'm gonna text this guy over here.
I have 2 options, don't I? Live with it or get out.
And
That's your 2 options, right? There aren't 3. There's 2 options. Live with it or move out. That's it. There's no other options. That's what you do. Done.
And what did you want to do for real? Do you want to get out? Because I don't know any man that's going to say that I'm okay with.
No,
I'm okay with my wife
not.
being with some other man. I'm okay with my wife sleeping with some other guy.
That's exactly why we talked about. I said I want 2 kids in the summer if you move, and she didn't want to talk about it, and
You said she laughed at the idea.
And apparently, I just the way things were right then, I wasn't going to just pack up my suitcase and leave at that point either. I have 3 kids.
Why should you have to leave because she wants to go play? Why should you have to uproot?
Am I going to make her leave?
Well,
that's not right.
She's got a boyfriend. She's got the military.
Yeah, she had a lot going for her. She had 3 beautiful boys that meant the world to her too.
Well, I don't think she was thinking about all that, was she? She was.
Yeah, I guarantee she was thinking about them boys. Maybe not thinking about me, but I guarantee she was thinking about them 3 boys.
But guess what? Actions have consequences, right? When you start acting like that and doing things like that, it's going to create problems in a marriage. And guess what? Those boys are in that house and they're going to feel all that pain, all that anger, all that resentment. That's basically.
If you wouldn't ask them boys, they're happy as hell. They knew nothing, wouldn't, and still will never know anything bad about their mother. It will never happen. They'll never know. She's going to remain just as she is to them boys. Beautiful, funny, smart mom. That's what she is. It's what she always was to them. And I promise you, I did not do anything to take her away from them boys. I wouldn't, and I did not. And I'll swear it on anything. I'm not even, I didn't. That's just that. It's that simple. I wouldn't hurt her. I wouldn't lay a finger on her. Never have. Never did. Never will. And I know you're going, oh, she punched you into manhood. Well, you know what? Maybe, but that doesn't give me a right to do anything. Yeah, like I said, I got 2 choices. Live with it or move out. And my only choice was I'm eventually going to have to move out. That's my choice. There's no other choice.
Well, again, we're putting pieces together. And due to the circumstances that we found here, it doesn't seem plausible that it was accidental. Again, you're the last person that saw her. Hence our questioning of what your relationship was like and what your demeanor was in the morning. As you told us yourself, you argued. And
we talked. I don't think we argued. We talked about it.
Well, earlier you told me you argued with one another. I think you even told the other officer when you were picked up this morning at your in-laws that you were arguing with one another.
Well, if arguing and talking are the same thing, I guess. We talked about it.
It's not illegal to argue, but
it is. But it is. It doesn't. You're making it sound like we were yelling at each other or something, and that's not the case. Okay. Absolutely not yelling at each other.
And in disagreement. It's if you agreed with everything.
Absolutely not. Do I have a disagreement? I'm sure I do. I am right now because you guys are starting to really accuse me of this, and
I don't think it's
I get it. I know you want to know. I want to know. But you got to see my end. I'm looking at it as this is the mother of my children. I'm not.
Well,
There's no one that would hurt the mother of their children.
Mr.
Nobody's sane.
Mr. King, I mean, you're getting all.
I am. Because you guys are accusing me. You're telling me I got a flat lip. I know.
You got a mark on your lip. I'm asking you how you got the mark on your lip, and you're getting defensive. Okay, why are you getting defensive? Because I'm asking
defensive.
you.
I'm telling you.
You're
If
getting
there's a
nervous.
mark there, I don't know anything about it.
Well, and due to the circumstances that we have you here and the nature of why you're here, that we have to talk to you about your wife's most very recent death. We're not going to point out the physical issues that you have with your lip at the get-go. We're going to talk to you to try to get a time frame, and we're going to talk to you to try to get your side of the story. Because obviously you're upset by this. And just like we said this whole time, we want to provide answers for you. Hear all the things that go through our mind.
No, I don't know him. I don't even know where he lives.
Okay.
But I don't believe it's anywhere close.
Okay.
So, like I said, I don't know where he lives. And
So that's the end of his police interview, and as you can see, he just denies. In fact, he kind of denies a bit too much, if you know what I mean. But of course, his ass was guilty in court. See, according to the prosecutors, shortly after 5 a.m. on July 6, 2014, Shadwick strangled Kathleen in their home. He killed her. And that's when he put her body on the railroad tracks to make it seem like a attempted self-deletion. And then someone saw the body, called police, and here we are. So in March 2015, the jury found Shadwick guilty of first-degree murder. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison. But of course, he appealed. So on January 31st, 2020, the Supreme Court affirmed a new trial for Shadwick. You see, he was convicted of murdering his wife. She was found dead near the railroad tracks, as I've mentioned. Now, she was found with no obvious cause of death. Competing medical experts hotly contested the cause, one saying it was a homicide caused by strangulation. As I mentioned, the others say it was a natural death. There was no DNA evidence, no eyewitnesses, and no direct evidence against Shadwick. Now, in the trial, the court allowed Mark Seferick to be presented as an expert witness. The problem is, he was actually a TV actor. He was a retired law enforcement professional, but he was considered an expert in circumstantial criminal cases. So because of this, in 2020, the Supreme Court held that there is no question that Seferick should never have been allowed to testify as an expert. However, his appeal was rejected. Let me show you. So this is from January 2025. The Illinois 2nd District Appeal Court upheld the conviction of Shadwick King. Kane County Judge John Barsanti ultimately found him guilty in the second trial and ruled that he must serve the duration of the 30 years. Now, of course, he appealed again, arguing that errors at his retrial constituted denial of his rights. But as of right now, his ass is in jail. However, there's no DNA evidence and there's no witnesses, so how did they convict him? I don't know. But looking at his body language in the video, the way he just kept denying and, I would never do it, never. It's like, well, yeah, of course you did. That's kind of the vibe he gave me. But comment, what do you think?